Hello, hello, and welcome back to Minotaur Hotel. I don't know, this outfit looks cute. I do like the, cloak? Robe? Cape? I don't know the term. The prince takes 2 steps towards you, bringing his smell of salt water and sunlight to your senses.
But you are delightfully different, Mr. Josh.
When you put it like that, it could even make me bashful. I'm no such legendary hero.
Are you sure? Maybe the myths gave you the impression one must descend from a god or fight some great and terrible monster to be the stuff of legends. My brother was a great leader, so are you, of course. But his greatness was a gift from the gods. Yours, in contract, is yours alone, handmade, homegrown, wholly human. And Phronios, wise and crafty as he was, never had your wits and mastery. You make me feel alive, and in that sense, you remind me of them. But you are you, and as much as I love them, I cannot say I prefer their company today.
As much as he generally takes to lumbering and deliberate movements, the Minotaur finds his movements to be swift, and grabbing and embracing you in his arms is one of those moments. You haven't even the time to hug him back before he lets you go and continue speaking.
You make an art out of friendship. I could not have asked for a better and greater and more beautiful and gracious partner. Not master, no. I will give it in this time. If partner or co-owner is what you would have me call you, tonight I will accept your suggestion.
My suggestion? His ears flicker alone with his laughter.
Yes, yes. If we are truly equal, then your commands are no more than suggestions, correct? That is the price of freeing a man, I believe.
I can live with that, as long as we're together and getting this hotel up and running again.
It was not enough that you heal my wounds. You had to dig deeper, and I never believed I was human. The very idea seemed absurd. But with you, I feel like nothing else could be true. Those transcripts you brought showed me that the gods did not abandon me, and what a weight you liberated from me. But whatever they said then means little if I have you with me now. Whatever you say will be my truth, from now and forever, since you so clearly know better from the beginning. So, what say you then, Mr. Josh? Am I human, deserving of kindness and of good and kindness, worthy of being your co-owner?
Yes, 1,000, no, 1,000,000 times yes.
That many? Exactly that number.
As many as there are stars in the sky. And if you ever doubt it for a single second, I'll be happy to remind you that many times, you, Asterion, are human, and my worthy co-owner, and my best and dearest friend. He groans and half moos at your words, but he still smiles to hear them.
Then, that is my truth, although this time, I was already certain of it being asked. How can I ever repay you, you amazing man?
All you need to do is keep being your big, sweet, adorable self, buddy. He snorts and ducks his head, as though dodging away from the compliment. However, the motion could not hide the wide, tender smile upon his lips.
I swear, Sometimes your flattery is more, torturous than anything your predecessors could dream up.
It's not just flattery, though. It's true, and I mean every single word.
I know it. In my mind, there can be no doubt that all you say is from your honest heart, but...
But?
Mr. Josh, these words you say, and the ideas they inspire within me, I cannot.
Asterion, it's okay. Take all the time you need to get your thoughts together. Your words, your grace, the gentle warmth in your eyes as they meet his own. The Minotaur almost loses his grasp on speech itself. But a deep breathe in, tinged with just the faintest hint of your ever-comforting scent, soothes the hummingbirds. At last, all that he has wanted to say to you over the past few weeks comes slipping out around the knot in his throat.
There are many kinds of love, and forgive me if it somehow sounds odd or overwrought, but why am I tearing up?
With both hands, you wipe the tears from his eyes, even as more form anew to tickle over your fingers. Sometimes we cry when we're happy.
Yes, I am happy, but that is not it. For as long as I have known the joy of giving a home to those who are lost, and I was content to feel that alone. But the thought of being by your side, serving you, being your partner, what have you, filling me with what I can only describe as euphoria. It is a joy, but at the same time it pains me. It feels so close to, but so distant from what I want.
His eyes wander to room, or rather than stay on you, even while he leans his cheek against yours.
And this hurt, as bad as it is, by the gods, this want makes me feel so alive. But I fear it too. Not that you will hurt me, but this want is so overwhelming. It feels like hubris to want it all sometimes. I stop and think about it. Even could I ever desire a life this joyous and blessed. But then I think back to that letter from Lord Hades, to his defense of me, and regardless of what Olympus decided for me, I chose to take this joy which I desire. But then I think of you, my lord.
His tail twitches.
I am so afraid of saying or doing something untoward, and I have this sense within myself of being burned, and yet all I wish for is to draw closer. Whenever I am with you, serving you. I cannot find it in myself today to fear the gods, but I am so afraid of all of this overwhelming me sometime soon. But you ease the overwhelmedness while you add to it.
And then at last, the knot which binds that final confession within his throat comes undone.
I love you. Do you know that?
Asterion lifts his arms, reaching out to you, but stops. Before regret or fear can drown out bravery. You follow suit and entwine your fingers with his. It takes a moment for him to register your touch, but not a second later. His chest swells and splays out as he pulls you closer. His warmth His other arm wraps shyly around your back, with all the gentleness of two young boys walking hand in hand to their home. Oh, okay. Just as his chest broadens, his back succumbs to the slightest arching. Asterion's breathing comes out hitched, almost a sob, as his hand envelops yours with no intention of letting go. You take a step forward, his stance spread an inch further apart. The fingers of your other hand brush his mid-back. His simply wraps around and holds onto you. Your legs touch as if in dance, and gazes meet one last time before all pretenses fall to the ground. You press your forehead against his own. The warmth of his breath and scent of his fur becomes your home. His senses, meanwhile, are caressed by your touch's tenderness and the understanding in your gaze. A huff leaves his nostrils and fades into a whimper. You let go from holding his hand and running your fingers up his arm. You drape a hand over the back of Asterion's neck. Your fingers find a resting place over the notches of his vertebrae, and his throat finds peace in rumbling along with each and every caress you give. His thighs inch closer to yours, and his hands, yearning for attention, lay upon and hold your back. The ensuing hug has a life of its own. Asterion constricts and lets go of you in unison with his heartbeat, and every lungful of air is a tentative shudder through him. The small of his back arches, pushing over his rear. His fingers curl into your shirt, cradling every little ember you give him. You apply the softest touch, just enough to first nuzzle your noses together, then align his mouth into just the right angle. His lips part a mere sliver, as shy and short-lived as sea foam. His breathing quickens in anticipation as he allows himself to be pulled into your all-encompassing touch. Asterion's body takes on a will of its own. He lets out a groan halfway between a whimper and a as your lips meet, such a shy nudge at first, so hesitant as the two of you shudder under the speeding warmth of your affection. His tail flicks and then thrashes as he catches the first taste from the tip of your tongue. Meanwhile, your senses are taken by his scent, always by salt water and sun, mixed with the sweetness of his breath. As if electrified, his fur threatens to stand on end, just as his legs wobble. The shiver that accompanies it brings him pressing in closer together. Against you. That's what that says. Yes. And yet the seal between your lips is unpracticed. Tongues scarcely brush together, and tender as it may be, it cannot make up for the lack of familiarity. With a disheartened tremble, the moment ends too soon, and your mouth grows half an inch apart. But just as it happens, Asterion fails to hold back a chest-rumbling whimper. Your smile. His gaze drifts off to the side, avoiding yours, but his cheeks flush and he bursts into a giggle. What else? After all, can a man do when what else can a man do when so much joy is given all at once? But laughter lasts only a short while. If a wave of shame and regret washed over him, all hesitation itself is taken away by a greater force, and bringing silence again with it. All the bravery and fortitude this prince once had, stripped away by circumstances, is revived. And that old nobility demands respect and silence, and of course, to have its will realized. Your eyes meet again, and this time, it's Asterion who nuzzles his mouth over closer to yours. Your hands find a place of belonging over the small of his back, almost grazing the root of his tail as it jerks in response to your touch. Your fingers dig into the soft fur and firm muscles, pulling the whole of his being closer to you. One digit curls around Asterion's tail, and that pushes his chest into a rumble, which makes the entirety of your body vibrate along. Not a moment later, the girth appendage hanging from his posterior raises to seek your touch for itself.
Mr. Josh.
He rumbles a word or two, more as your lips graze his, but the grumbling whimper in his chest drowns it out. All you can make out is the trembling in his voice as each syllable is shaken by the emotions running through him. He braces for your might and allows you to embrace, kiss, take him whole. His mouth, with its rough and inelegant tongue, nevertheless tastes bittersweet, honey, and coffee. The other fingers follow the one, hooking under his trembling tail. Your hot grip on his rear pulls his hips to yours, teaching him where to place each leg, how to arch his back while splaying out his chest, when to breathe and taste and enjoy all you have to offer. The other hand's touch on his cheeks is a gentle, firm, and gracious as gold, unwavering enough to give relief and support, but not to the point it cannot bend and adapt. Asterion invites you in. Your tongue sets the pace for every moan, every shiver, every ragged breath you pull out of him, and in doing so, all thoughts of failure, inadequacy, and insufficiency are laid to rest. How many times have mirrors brought him sorrow at being born wrong, and yet today, every part of him feels right. The sonorous hooves, more sweet-sounding than a lyre. The noble horns, fit for crowning with wreaths and garlands. The pink snout and tummy, tender and fragile and deserving of love. As your support grows in strength and control, Asterion draws a breath, holds it, and lets all the weight upon the shoulders pass on to you. Like a calf, he rubs his head on your hand, eyes half open and filled whole with stars. The weight of the world rests on the hands cradling his cheek. So your only choice is to take the hand resting on his rear and raise it all the way to his horns. Asterion does not feel your touch upon it, but as soon as you use that anchor to pull him closer and embrace him in a new form of perfection. A shiver runs down his spine like never before. It goes back up the pit of his stomach, back to the whimper he allows into his mouth. Without thinking, he hugs you, letting you pull him in, and now you truly bear the weight of his world. The two of you alone allow the kiss to linger. Inch by sweet burning inch, your bodies are wired together into the intimacy only lovers know. You rub your hands up his back. Upon reaching his neck, you ever so gently pull him down, so he's at the same level as you. Awkward at the position may be for him, there is no protest, that is, until he grabs your waist in a full hug and lifts you to his level. No amount of wiggling your legs, gripping his side will do. For a full minute, you are his to do with as he pleases. And what he wishes for above all else is for your soft kiss. He holds you high, as if to pour your affection into him and become drunk with it. The prince may be tender, good lord, but he is not without rebelliousness. We all know, good lord, how unrelenting the passage of time is. No matter how much one chooses to prolong it, a joy such as this lasts only for a short while. It is for the best. A lover's touch would lose its sweetness were it to last forever. In fact, the source of its allure is in how, no matter how much one tries, there will always be a gap separating even the most giving of lovers. So seal your lips, good lord, and feel the rawness left by the absence of your darling's tongue. Here comes the final moment of tenderness, my king. Look into his knowing eyes and make it count. I think I've had my fun. Regretfully, longing already for yet more, the two of you part. The quiet moment between you and Asterion is only broken, or perhaps merely caressed, by the softest of breaths, and then...
I love you, Mr. Josh.
I love you too, little star. Oh, okay. Well, this seems like a good place to end. So I'll see you around, everyone.